Hi, entrepreneurs. Welcome to our webinar. Today we are doing e-market research, and our guest for this evening is Mpho. Mpho, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm quite excited.
Welcome, entrepreneurs. I hope you guys are going to learn a lot from our guest, Mpho namhlanje. And also, please feel free to ask her any questions that you might have. Mpho, we are also live on Facebook Live, so there will be people that will be asking questions on Facebook as well. So I will take notes, and then I'll just let you know what the questions are.
Okay.
All right, we can begin.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'm incredibly excited, but challenged at the same time because there's so much to cover. Market research is such a broad topic, but can I get a sense of everyone, what industries that they're in, or what kind of businesses are they doing, Tonto?
Guys, please let us know. There is a chat button at the bottom. Just if you guys can just type it in and just tell Mpho what it is, which industry are you guys in, so that we can assist you in terms of whatever challenges that you guys might be going through. At the moment, I don't have anyone that's saying anything, but we at GAD do financial literacy for entrepreneurs. So maybe you can start with us at GAD.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what I want to do today is focus on what I call a cheat sheet. And this cheat sheet is kind of trying to teach and provide some practical tools that the SMEs can use. So it's going to have a dual function. This is usually a day course, but we're going to try and compress everything into one day. But it's important to start at the beginning to understand what market research is and why it matters, and to look at what I call the 4-step process, the 4 main buckets that I feel everybody should pay attention to in their businesses right at the beginning of the process. And also, if you need to take kind of like a step back, sometimes people only start doing market research like 5 years down the line. So understanding your industry is the main one. And this is what I call a low-hanging fruit. It's one thing that people don't do, and it's probably like the first thing that you want to do. So that, so I see somebody here says from FMCG and trying to move into financial services. And then somebody says, I'm in the process of registering my own consulting company. I want to focus on providing strategic solutions to young SMEs. Okay, this is Belinda. So for example, looking at that, so how much do you understand about the strategic solutions industry, Belinda? So that's a kind of question. And the second one is looking at conducting a competitor analysis. And this competitor analysis is part of understanding your industry world. So, and it's about helping you kind of determine where are you going to fit in, where is your space, where is your niche, how are you going to position yourself in this space. And then of course, then there's the element of the customer. So who are you going to sell to? What do you know about this customer? What do you need to do to resonate with them? And this is another one. So I always say there's 2 components to market research. It's, looking outwards, so your industry and your customers, and looking inwards and looking at yourself. So a lot of us, we create these amazing brands, but we never really know if these brands resonate or they are aligned with who we're servicing. So defining this brand, having a brand story, and being clear about who you are as an organization. Okay, so the big question, why do this? Why should it even matter? Well, market research is a deliberate process of collecting information. So you have an objective, you want to understand a market, you want to understand an industry, you want to get feedback about your product or your services. So market research is intentional. So right at the beginning, we need to have an objective. Why am I doing this? What are the answers? What answers am I looking for? And what am I going to do with those answers? So it's about helping you understand your markets. It's helping you understand the industries in which you operate. It's about helping you understand what influences purchase within that space, so that you then can be able to package and communicate in a way that allows you to influence purchase. And then this information that I gather, how am I going to use it to guide business strategy? So market research is a doing function the whole time. And in what I'm going to share with you, I'm not really trying to convert you into market researchers, but it's important to have a very broad understanding of what it is that we do. So we've got Banele. Good evening. My name is Banele. I'm with my partner in business, Udimile. We are in East London, South Africa, and we in the specialty artisan coffee industry. Okay, great. Thanks. Nice to meet you, Banele.
Mpho, I've got people also on Facebook. I've got Anna Bata. She says she's got a company called Brickyard. So she's doing farming crops.
Okay.
And then Samu says he is currently doing network marketing.
Okay.
Yeah. So Anna just goes into more detail by saying it's brickyard, selling sand, stone, bricks, and crop farming.
Okay.
For crop farming, she specializes in spinach and beetroot.
Beetroot. Okay. All right. So let's look at this definition a little bit broader. So there's two parts to information. So there's primary research, which is it's new information. So it's something that there's no existing information about it, which most of us usually have to do some component of primary research, because we're looking at a specific target audience where there's no information about, or we want to look at a specific thing related to our own business. Then secondary research is the low-hanging fruit. Again, it's stuff that already exists. It's out there, it's available, you can go get it at any time. And this is something that I also want to focus on a little bit, because it's something that you can wake up and do tomorrow. And then there's two worlds to research as well. So I'm a qualitative specialist, being a consumer insight specialist. So we get asked to understand the why behind behavior, or the why behind the numbers, right? So you'll find that, they'll say 80% of the market says this and that, and 90% of the market says this and that. And we really try and understand the why in that, and what is driving this behavior, what are the influence around it. And then the quantitative, it's the numbers. So it tells you how many people, or how big is the problem or the opportunity, or the solution. So it's the numbers, the what, and it's the how much and how many, which is the quantitative, is the numbers, and then the qualitative is the why behind the behavior. But we'll look at those two sides and how you can also use these two different methods to answer some of your issues. Okay, so what I've realized from the work that I do is that people don't really know why they need to do market research. So I want to take you through a couple of elements why this is important. So the first thing that market research does, it gives you a sense check of where you are. So it allows you to take stock and to say, relative to what is happening in my industry, where am I? Where am I in this business? Am I moving forward? Am I backwards? Am I aligned? It just allows you to take stock. And then once you've taken stock, it also just gives you all your bottlenecks. Like, what are the things that are kind of holding you back? What are the things that you can do to move forward? And the other important thing is that it helps you understand the customer and what it is that they need. So then you are able to better package, for the customer, because you understand them a little bit better. And another beautiful thing about market research, it allows you to do your entire SWOT analysis. So what is it that we do well as an organization? What are the opportunities that exist for us? And then the other flip side is that, where do we fall short? What are the things that we don't do so well? And what is potentially threatening us, so that we can then come up with solutions? it helps us to identify new business opportunities. So the more you engage with your market, you start to discover a whole lot of things to go, oh, but I can also do this, I can also do that. It allows you to sort of discover new areas of expansion. I always make an example about an SME who was selling township sandwiches, Igota, and he eventually added a popcorn machine during the school holidays and an ice cream machine and the candy floss and the jumping castle. He now then ended up doing children's parties because he continually engaged with the market, and they kept on saying, we need this, it would be better if you did this. So his business expanded from his core business to other areas as well. And then, of course, potential customers. So there's people that would never consider your business, but when you engage with them to understand why, then it gives you access into how you can better service those people. And then it just expands your customer base even wider. So my cheat sheet is on the 4 things. So the one is understanding the industry in which you operate, and then knowing your competitive landscape. So these are your competitors, the other people who are doing something similar to what you're doing. And then, of course, getting to know your customers and then testing your idea with those customers and clearly defining your brand and knowing what it is that you stand for. So our payoff line is discover your market, discover your world, because in all honesty, that when you start to know more about the industry and the market in which you work, then a whole new world starts to open up for you. Okay, so this is cheat sheet number 1, and I call this the low-hanging fruit because this is something that you can literally go and do tomorrow. And this is about understanding your industry. So may we ask, will the presentation be available after this webinar via email? Zonto?
Yeah, I'm sure. You'll share
Okay.
it with me so I can share with the participants.
All right.
No problem.
Okay. So first things first, the industry that you're in, this is a low-hanging fruit. You can literally do this tomorrow. So I say, follow the money. What is the value of the industry? I ask this in every workshop that I run. Ask people, what is the value of your industry? How much did your industry make last year? Nobody can ever tell you, right? And I mean, you can hear now, you listen to the news, you look everywhere, it's all doom and gloom. The economy, companies are closing down, and people are getting retrenched, but there's people who are making millions, right? So how are they doing that? So this is a really good place to start. So I'm going into this soya fragrance candles industry. What is the situation within this space? How much is this industry worth? How much money is exchanging hands? How much people are spending to buy products within the space? And what is important about this, it then gives you the size of the opportunity for you. Then people discover that there's billions that are exchanging hands between people within that industry. And they ask themselves the question, but why am I not making any money? But that's a beautiful question with a beautiful problem. So that there's money. So if they're saying, oh, but your industry made 2 billion last year, then it's like, oh, this is fantastic. Then that means there's an opportunity for me. But where is this money going? This is where you start. Then you start to follow the money. What organizations are getting the lion's share of this money? How are they doing it? This is the beginning of the learning process to see what the industry leaders are doing. What kind of the solutions are they coming up with? How are they selling? What kind of innovations and technologies are they using? Easier place to start. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or start everything from scratch. Then you start to see, okay, so this is what is being done. This is what I can emulate. This is my own flavor that I can bring into this. So that's the first thing. So do this even tonight. Find out what the value of your industry is. And this gives you the motivation to just keep pushing because you know that the money is there. Then the second one, people never know their industry bodies, right? So every industry has got a body that governs and monitors the industry, monitors the rules and regulations of the industry. It provides information, it provides a support system, it provides an ecosystem. Tomorrow, pick up the phone. You can look online today, find out what your industry body is, pick up a phone tomorrow, join that industry body, because when you're there, that's where you're going to meet a number of people, because these industries bodies usually have events, they have webinars and all sorts of things that you can be part of. You find potential mentors there. You'll get access to networks. You'll get access to business opportunities. Simple, low-hanging fruit. Join an industry body. Attend the events and read some industry journals and publications, and read industry research. So these are things that industry bodies do. They monitor what is happening in the industry. They track the trends. They can tell you how the industry has evolved over the past couple of years, and how you can then align yourself and position yourself for success. This is a low-hanging fruit. It's easy. You can do it immediately.
Paul Precious wants to ask a question. Precious, go ahead.
I can't do it now. I will hold on to the questions. I will answer in the next few minutes.
No problem. You can go ahead.
Just go ahead, Mpho. I'm with you.
Okay. All right. So, and then the other quick thing that you need to do around your industry is to understand issues around compliance and legislation, because most of the time I come across SMEs, they don't know issues around compliance within their industry. They don't know issues around legislation, and industry bodies are a very quick way to try and find out those things, because opportunities arise and you find that you're not compliant, you're not aligned with the industry standards and norms, and you miss out on opportunities. And sometimes also the industry compliance creates barriers for SMEs. So when you do know what they are, then it gives you an opportunity to plan and then prepare for the launch of your business. And then the last important thing is this impact of innovation and globalization. How has innovation and globalization impacted your industry in the past couple of years? Do you have the right technologies? Can you keep up with how the industry has evolved? Have you got the right tools to gear your business up for success? Do you also have the right skills that are aligned? And why this is important is that, look at us now. We're having a conversation with people who are in East London. There could be people from China. There could be people from anywhere. The world is significantly smaller now. So a customer at any given time, if you are, running a financial education academy, there's Udemy, there's all sorts of other platforms that they can choose to. So are you aligned with global standards? And this is important that, because at any given time, we're not just competing with people around us, but we're competing with the world. So this is also quite key. And these are simple things that you can do through secondary research, and you can do Google searches, call the industry's bodies, speak to experts, and try and get this information. And this gives you a bit of a foundation to kind of say, am I ready to then launch myself into this industry in the best possible way?
There's a question from Anonymous. So they're asking, how far do you drill down in your industry? In candle, for example, do you add incense or other mood sensory items that are a competition to your candles? Where can this information be found?
Okay, so I won't have the specific industry information, but I think if you run a Google search around the candle industry, and you then start to see what the natural fallout from that search is, you'll start to then see different categories that come up. And I think so where you've got, what are they called? So candles that have got scent, I think that is a category on its own. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. You know,
When
that's
you're
a category.
done, oh, sorry, love. When you are done, I would like to add.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw do broad category searches, and then when you in within that search, and then you start to see how your searches fall out. And you most of the time things that are searched the most, or things that are in demand, you'll usually find that they will be optimized, and they're usually at the top, and then you can work your way down, and then you start to see how the industry naturally kind of is geared towards. Is it, you know, is there a greater demand for what you're doing, or is there less of a demand? Precious.
So what I wanted to say is that I think as entrepreneurs, we're going to need to start using tools that are already available.
Yeah.
So let's just take, for example, first, because you're in a South African market, you're also going to realize some of the things may not necessarily be on the internet. So use both tools, right? First, if I was you, I would go to the shops that sell those type of products. At the back of each product, there will be a list of manufacturers that are making those products. You then go to Google those companies, because you already know who's actually playing in that space. But you start investigating and finding out what's the capacity and which ones are selling best. And you can see it from the type of shops. You can start seeing it even yourself as an owner. But the most important thing is never about the product. It is about the custom. Which one does the customer want? Do they want the ones that are actually the smell, that are sensory? What exactly are the customer looking for? And then you get your market to direct you on how would you find who's playing a proactive role in that market. What you also need to keep in mind is that, remember, as you're testing things, you should not wait for things to actually be, you have to test them within the market that you are actually working. Start taking samples and asking people so that you can build and find out what's the interest. And because from the interest, then people, you know, the age, people get to be aware, they're interested, then they start actually asking more questions and then making a decision. So those are the things you're going to need to think about as you're building. I hope that helps.
Okay. All right. So we're building into all of those elements. I think what is important about what we're discussing here is that have a broad understanding of your industry and how the capital flows go, and have a support system within your industry. All right. So, and then the second component of that is then understanding your competitive set well. And these are the people that you're going to be competing with. And they may be direct competitors. Some of them may be indirect. So, you know, a person may choose to buy, I don't know, incense instead of the candles. You know, that's an indirect competitor, but probably doing something similar. Or a person may choose to then opt for a bubble bath, you know, to offer the same feeling that they would normally get from scented candles. You know, these are hypothetical examples, but have an understanding of who your direct competitors are and who your indirect competitors are. And it's also simple. Competitors, you get information from their websites. You get information from social media, their pages. You read their reviews. What are people and customers saying about them? And I think, as Precious has rightfully said, you go into their places of business. We do a lot of mystery shopping. where we become customers in our clients' competitor businesses, and we see how they sell, we see what they sell, we see what they package, and we see how they engage with the customers to try and give our customers strategies that will make them more competitive and more differentiated. The other one that we never make use of, we always dealing with suppliers as entrepreneurs, but we don't engage those suppliers enough. And those suppliers have got a wealth of information from engaging with a number of other other entrepreneurs that are doing something similar to what you're doing. So make it a habit to have those conversations with your suppliers. You know, who are they doing business with? What kind of business are they doing? What is current versus what is not current? Great source of information. But the other one is actually engaging the customer. Customers are a good tool of finding out what your competition is doing, or what else do they buy instead of buying the category that you're in. And I want to point out that there's 3 different levels of customers. So you've got your current customers. These are people that are buying from you. These are people that are interested in your product. These are people that are pro what you're doing. And then we usually have lapsed customers. You know, I come across SMEs that say, yeah, if, you know, people no longer come, you know, you people used to support me when I first started and I don't know what has happened. Those customers have lapsed. You need to engage those lapsed customers to try and understand why they have lapsed, because having lapsed from you, they're going somewhere else. Where is that? What are they getting from wherever it is that they are? And, you know, what are they doing better? What are they doing differently? What can you learn from that move from you to another entrepreneur? And then there's potential customers. These are customers that just really wouldn't consider doing business with you. So let me make an example with my business. So we're in the qualitative industry, and you know, a client that is looking for quantitative research wouldn't pick up a phone and call us, because, you know, we qualitative experts. So we deal with consumer behavior. But we realized that this was a missed opportunity. So when we engage these customers to say, okay, so how can we build a relationship? How can we start doing more business? You know, and they kind of said, you don't even need to do quantitative research yourself, but even if you had a quantitative research partner, we would do business with you. We also need you to do work beyond just the SADC region. We focus on the SADC region and East Africa. You know, they want to do work in Nigeria, they want to do work in Ghana, they want to do work in Nigeria. So that kind of helps us to take stock and go, okay, so these are the opportunities that exist for these potential customers to consider us. So look at those 3 layers. Don't just talk to people that buy from you or that are interested in your product. Talk to those who are also not interested in your product as well. And I always say, you know, there's 3 simple questions that can help you start the research process. I call it the KSS. So it's about asking, what is it that we should keep doing? The things that we get right. What are the things that we need to start doing? So your current customers will give you an idea of the things that you get right, and that's why they stay. Your lapsed customers will give you a good sense of what you need to start doing and what you need to stop doing, you know, because certain things that you're doing kind of maybe didn't work for them, they've moved to somewhere else. So they'll help you understand the stop and the things that you need to start. And of course, your potential customers as well will tell you the things that you need to start to do so that they can be able to consider you. Do you have any questions on this? No. Okay. So this is the competitor analysis, the cheat sheet. As I'd mentioned that I'll be looking at the cheat sheet today. So, and this is something that we do in the workshop. So you know, you kind of like take stock. Okay, so who am I competing with? Where are people going relative to me? And where do I stand? So the first thing I say, look at their positioning, and their positioning is about the things that they say about themselves. How does this organization talk about itself? You know, giving you an example about Masudane Consulting. Initially, when we launched, what really gained us traction with corporate companies is that we said we are a brand about the township, and we are from the township, you know, and we are in the township. So our office was actually in the middle of Tembisa when we started, and that differentiated us. We had a unique positioning that clients loved, and this is what made us grow. And of course, now with time, our offices are in Woodmead and we work all over the continent. But that positioning worked for us because we saw that all the other market research companies were all focused on kind of like the same thing. And we kind of said, we are going to focus on the township market. And then look at what products they're offering, you know, and how those products are packaged relative to what you're doing. Because the whole time you want to position yourself in a way that you stand out, you're different from the rest, and at the same time, you're resonating with your target market and you're still offering the value that they're looking for. Key differentiator, what makes your competitors different, so that you can also then understand what makes you different. What do they do well? These are their strengths. What do customers say about what they do well? Especially people that have left you, they've gone somewhere else because they're doing something better than you. What is it? What are those, the competitor strengths? What are your strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are your weaknesses? And how can you leverage your competitors' weaknesses in order to strengthen your business? Now, this is an important one. So customer brand perception and association. Perceptions are an incredibly dangerous thing because they're not necessarily factual, but it's what customers believe about you. So how you present yourself to your customers is what creates that perception. You know, so it's really important. So every interaction that you have with the customer, it leaves a lasting impression and it creates a perception, and that's the perception that will be communicated to other potential clients. So the question is it a positive communication that you're having, or is it a negative communication that you're having? So you must be very intentional in terms of the kind of perceptions you want to create about your brand, about your business. What do you want to stand for? And that's the last thing that we look at, to say, what is your brand essence? What is your brand story? How do you want to be seen? How do you want to be spoken about? Very important. Size of the business. This is another important one. Can you deliver? Can you reach the demand? You know, do you give a sense that you can actually do the job? So the size of the business is important, something that we've had to sort of adapt to. So now we don't have teams all over the continent, but we can do work all over the continent. All we've just done is that we've set up relationships and partnerships all over the country. We're busy with a brief in Nigeria at the moment. All we gotta do is get in touch with our networks in Nigeria, and then we send a strategist to go there. So the size of the business, especially those of you who are dealing with other businesses, dealing with other corporate companies, and they wanna see that, can you handle the demand? Can you handle the size of the projects? And then of course, your geographical reach and scope. Again, so the internet has made everything so small and so accessible. You know, how far can you go? How much can you deliver? And do you have the resources and the capacity? So this is all about taking stock and kind of seeing where you are. Then once you've done this competitor analysis and you've benchmarked the industry, you start to see and go, okay, so these guys are focusing on this, and a lot of these guys are focusing on this. So maybe the opportunity, I see no one is really addressing this issue here. No one is addressing here. I think this is the space I'm going to play in. So this exercise just allows you to position yourself in the market and to be able to communicate in a way that is different to everyone else. You got to think about what a customer is going through, whether it's a customer in another business that is buying from you, or it's just an ordinary customer that is a normal consumer. It's billboards. When they are in taxis, there's taxi advertising, they're on their phone, they're on social media, there's things popping up everywhere, every minute of the day. Everybody's trying to get their attention. And if you sound like everybody else and you look like everybody else and you feel like everybody else, you do get lost in the clutter. So this exercise really helps you to craft your niche and be able to pull yourself apart from the rest of your competitors. Are we still on the same page? Happiness. All right, please. I have tried.
Paul, before you move, there's a question that was posted on the actual chart. It was not posted on the questions. Please.
Precious, you are muted now.
I was saying there's a question that is posted on chat. It should have been on Q&A. Please have a look at that.
The one that says, I'm going into the advertising industry.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Okay, that's the one that I want to answer. So now, the advertising industry in particular, they've got really like amazing programs where they incubate, right? So for example, the Sachis of this world, they've got incubation programs for SMEs like yourselves. So it's finding out about those kind of incubation programs to say, how can I be part of the incubation program? What is the industry body governing the advertising industry? That's also another great place to start. Pick up the phone, you call them. You know, the advertising industry has the Lurie Awards and those kind of things. So there's a lot of systems and support tools that are available within the advertising industry that you can sort of get in touch with. Is Precious waving at me? All right. So Tshepo, I hope that sort of helps you in addressing that question. Yes, Precious.
So what I wanted to say was that he also there's a magazine which is called Ad Focus. He just need to go to where are the publication for advertising agencies.
Yeah. Business
Community could be one of the places where he finds a list of advertising agencies within the country. Most of them are listed there. And then he will use.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I lost Precious there. Okay. So I want us to talk about this. So let's say we've got a sense of what we need to do as a start in understanding our industries and understanding our competitors. But I want to share this insight with you that having worked in the market research industry for, it's going to give away my age. It's almost like 15 years now or something like that. But we've found that consistently brands that are successful or organizations that are successful do these three things exceptionally well. The first one that they do is that they resonate. So what does that mean? So they connect with their customers at an emotional level. So it's a level just really beyond the rational. I always make an example with Apple customers. So, you know, people with MacBooks, I mean, and people with iPhones, you can't argue with those people. You know, they just naturally believe that they're superior. They see themselves as superior. They are part of a world, and you know, it's almost like a way of life. It's gone beyond just a product kind of thing. It's an identity. I always use also the example of Converse All-Stars. I mean, they are the most uncomfortable shoes I've ever come across in my life, but people love them. And also, again, it's part of a culture. It's an unspoken code. You know, a person could be walking out of a shack that is leaking and all sorts of things. It's falling apart, but they're wearing their Converse All-Stars. Those shoes are about 700 Rand or whatever, but people will save to buy them. So, and this shows that price is not always a factor when you're offering value. When you're offering something beyond just functionality of a product. So that emotional connection to a brand or to your customer is incredibly important. And you can't achieve that if you don't know your customers well, if you don't engage with them, if you don't keep up to date with where they are and what is happening, what matters to them, what is important to them. These brands also build trust, and they build trust because they've got this connection. But also this trust comes from consistently delivering. They deliver upon expectation, and they even exceed expectation, you know. So they're consistent in what they do. It's not sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not there, you know. They are consistent, and that's how they build trust. And they've got a positive brand image. We spoke about the perceptions earlier. You know, how are you perceived? So the image of your brand is important. At the beginning of my career, it used to really frustrate me, this idea that, oh, you know, but black suppliers don't deliver. It used to really drive me crazy, but it was a perception that was created. So make sure that you deliver consistently and create that positive brand image. Then the second component that they get right is this idea of value. I know that price is usually a big factor, and there's a belief that people buy on price. And I would like to tell you that when you're offering value, people will pay. You know, places like, you look at the hair industry, for example, people buying hair for 5,000 Rand, you know, Peruvians and things like that. You look at data, people will say data expensive, but how much time people are spending on social media. So where people feel that they get value, they pay. And what does this value mean? So the value is, what problem are you solving? What is the solution? So most of the time we want to sell or we want to pursue a business because we are interested in, this is what I love, this is what I'm good at. It's you making it about yourself. But actually the question that you should be asking is, what does the market need, and how does this then solve that problem? So what is the solution that you're providing? It's a key component of the value matrix, right? And then when they look at the problem that you're solving, then comes the issue of, okay, so what am I paying for this solution compared to how well this product is going to perform versus the experience that I have with that brand when I'm engaging with it, you know? So you'll find that an organization has got a great product that solves a problem, but they've got a terrible customer service. They keep you holding for an hour, you know. So just the experience with that brand is a continuous nightmare. So Telkom, for example, for me, you know, is one of those where it's kind of like, I need the phone line for my business, and you know, because we gotta communicate with our clients and all of that, you know. The service does work, but when you've got a problem, to get a solution, a support is very difficult. So that matrix needs to be aligned. You've got to solve the problem, get the price right, make sure that your product works every time, not sometimes, you know, and then give people a positive brand experience when they're engaging with you. The last component is the empowerment. The empowerment talks about, you know, we don't give customers enough reasons as to why they need to choose us. Why come to us? So I come across SMEs that will say, yeah, but people are not buying, and, we're marketing and we're out there, but they're not coming, I don't know what the problem is. How much have you shared about your product? How much have you shared about what makes your product unique? What problem are you solving? And are you visible where your customers are? Where are you marketing yourself? Is that information available where your customers are sitting? And when you empower your audience and your customers with information as to why they need to choose you over the competitor, they start to recommend you as well, because you would have then delivered on the value, and then you start to build the emotional connection because you are connected to your audience. Does that make sense? Do we have any questions, Precious?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We have a question from Snotando. Question is, how do I make sure that my turnaround time is not affected when using a merged method? Both qualitative and quantitative methods approach as research consultant.
So repeat that question, I didn't hear it.
How do I make sure that my turnaround time is not affected when using a merged method? Both qualitative and quantitative methods approach as a research consultant.
Okay. So I actually there's on LinkedIn I published an article about that, where so the industry is asking the question around how long it takes to conduct research versus how much it costs, and what kind of strategic insights does that research provide. So I think technologically, you'll see that there's a lot of tools that help us get information in real time. For example, I'm going to be talking about WhatsApp. We now use WhatsApp quite a lot to get real-time information about what customers are thinking and doing at that moment. And people love to post and talk about things that they're doing on social media all the time, things that we don't even need to know, but they're sharing them. So why not use that culture to get the information that you need? Get people to post things in real time, engage with them as they're walking about, and they at a point of influence, they're seeing something that interests them, that engages them, that catches their attention. Then they can share that with you to kind of say, these are the things that really get my attention. These are the things that get me going. So use technology, and accessible technology, leverage the way customers behave. Don't try and take customers out of what they normally do. So make it engaging and interesting, and make it live, provide it in real time. So that's what we're doing as an industry, to just make sure that we're getting up-to-date information all the time. Okay.
There's another question. This is from Kaya. He's saying, have you done a market study of water industry, in particular water treatment?
We actually do have a brief on the table, which I'm imagining that we will be going into that study later in the year. Why? Can you understand why I'm being asked that question? Is he looking for information?
I think he's looking for information.
Okay. So we will have our email address. So I think he can just kind of just email the office.
Okay.
And then we can guide him.
No problem.
All right, so here's another thing that I wanted to, so this idea of defining a customer. So I come across a lot of SMEs that kind of say they're selling to everybody, which sometimes is probably true, you're selling to everyone, but it's important that you define your core target audience, so picture them in your mind in terms of, who they are, how old are they, their gender, their race, their level of education, location, their income, their employment status, their marital status. Do they have children? Do they not have children? Because this guides your communication and your positioning and your strategy. You know, when you kind of selling to everyone, no, this is for everyone, your brand tends to become a little bit schizophrenic, you know. So have that target persona that you want to target. So I mean, think of a brand like a BMW or Mercedes-Benz, right? BMW has got a 1 Series, a 2 Series, a 3 Series, 4 Series, all the way up to a, what is it now, is an 8 Series, catering for different types of segments, you know, from people, a person who's just starting their job all the way to an executive. But when you think about that brand BMW, you have a very clear picture of this person who is successful, you know, who is accomplished, you know, who is current, who is trendy. And when you think of something like a Mercedes-Benz, you definitely know that this is a person who's older, you know, they've kind of settled down, they're a family kind of person. The BMW person maybe is still grooving a little bit, having a good time. There's an image that they create, you know, a perception that they want you to have. In one of the classes that I ran, and I said, what about a Volvo? You know, and they're saying, oh, that's such like an old guy, you know, he's an has-been, he's wearing his glasses in the study. But these are perceptions that have been created about those brands. So it's also important to have that defined target audience to say, this is my core target audience, and this is what is going to drive the communication. This is the person that I'm speaking to. And then from there will be other spin-off segments from you, but you need to have a core, a bullseye that you're talking to. You can't just be talking to everybody else, because your brand will be schizophrenic. Psychographics are important. So we're just looking at the demographics. The psychographic, people's attitudes, their beliefs, and their values, their interests, their lifestyles. You know, we've got different groups of people. Now people talk about slay queens. That's that's a definition that's defined by people's attitudes, beliefs, values, interests, and lifestyle. You know, there's more people that are now more interested in being more natural, and you know, people are more green, people are more influenced by technology, being more futuristic. So where is your target consumer with that? We recently did a project where we were looking at an entrepreneur's business. He was trying to talk to a certain audience, and that audience was saying, no, you're not talking to me, you're talking to my mother. I don't relate to what you're saying. You know, this is me, this is what I'm about. These are the things that appeal to me. And they didn't take this very well, but it was beautiful information, because it helps you then craft your solutions in a way that's. So this is really, really important. Define who you want to talk to. Same thing when you're dealing with other businesses as well, you know. Business to business. Our business is a business to business model, and we've learned that it's important for us to understand size of the organization. That's also important, because it affects how those organizations plan, how they look for market research services, the culture of the organization. So when we understand the culture of that organization, we know how we need to deliver. You know, understand the values of that organization. This is what they expect from their suppliers, because this is the kind of organization that they are. Here's another one that we overlook: the role of the service within the organization. How important is what you are providing to a particular organization? And I'll tell you why. Because right now, budgets are being cut, right? And you are you're in your industry, they're cutting budgets because they feel like this is not something important. This is something that we can do without. And this brings us back to this idea of why we always need to focus on creating value and not just being the cheapest supplier. And I know people that work with the government will say, but it's always about the price. Once customers have experienced value, they don't usually go back to just being about the price because they know what the value is worth. I'll go back to the examples of Apple, and I'll go back to examples of Converse All Stars. Or you look at Shisanyamas in townships, whether it's the economy is down, and taverns, those places are always full. People never say they don't have money for those kind of things. And then understand how suppliers are selected in those businesses. So make it a habit. You know who you want to target. Call those organizations, speak to people who are involved in the procurement process, and try and understand how they select their customers so that you can then prepare yourself for that selection process. Okay. So structure of the organization and the culture of the organization are so, so key in your planning. Okay. Okay. All right. So something else when you are engaging with your customers and you need to think about how am I going to service these customers? So we're going to look at the different methodologies that you can use just now. But when you're engaging, so I spoke about the KSS. What should we keep doing? What should we start doing? What should we stop doing? On the flip side, we need to understand, so I'm in the advertising industry. Who is this customer that I'm targeting in this industry? What are they buying? So what kind of advertising are they looking for? What is it that they're shopping for? When do they do this? At what points is the high levels of purchase of advertising? When is the downtime? So that you can plan. So when there's high demand, what can you offer? When there's downtime, what kind of solutions can you offer that are more affordable and more agile? Where are they buying from? So it's about this whole competitive set. Who else is offering this service? Why are they buying what they're buying? From where they're buying from? Understand those, and how are they buying? Are they buying on credit? Is it cash? So that you also have the system set up for you to meet the demand of the client. So this is something very, very important when you're trying to understand the customer. So what is influencing their decision-making process? How do they decide where they're going to buy whatever it is that they want to buy? You need to understand the back-end mechanics of how the decision-making process runs for that category. So people who want to buy candles, how do they decide that they're eventually going to buy scented candles, and what type of scented candles? Are these customers very concerned about the materials that have been used to make these candles? Are they green, or are they looking for something that's trendy, that's going to look beautiful in their home? Are they looking for something that is going to is more focused on functionality? Is this going to smell nice, but is it going to be bright? So you need to understand, and already in that you can see that, oh, okay, I can produce the same scented candles for the trendy market. I can produce for the green market, those that care about what kind of materials I use. I can also produce for those who are looking for functionality, something that is bright, something that lasts a bit longer. So think about the value that you're going to deliver to your customer all the time, and think about the kind of solution that you're providing. What problem are you solving for your customer? It's not about what you want to make, it's about the problem that you're making life easy for the customer. This is probably one of the biggest business components that we do. So the biggest part of our business, we spend it testing concepts, right? Big corporations, they test their ideas while it's still on paper before they even go into a prototype. And what they really want to understand is, when you hear this idea, does it sound like something that you would like? Is it appealing? Does it sound nice? Do you understand what it's saying? Do you understand what we're trying to say, what we're talking about? And if you understand it, is it something relevant to you? Do you need this? Is this answering your problem or not? What benefits is it promising you? Are those the benefits that you need, or are you looking for something else? Is it something that's different from what is available? Is it something that's going to differentiate us? And do you believe what it is that we're saying? So a lot of the times we are testing ideas to sense for these things. And this is something that you can do for yourself on a small scale with your customers, to just sense your idea and get a feel of, okay, does it resonate? Does it speak to them? Do they understand what I'm trying to say? Am I talking about the right benefits that they're actually looking for, or am I missing the mark? But most importantly, do they even believe what I'm saying? And if they don't, what can I do to make customers believe that this concept is going to work? Because sometimes, they look at you as an entrepreneur and go, this guy can't pull this thing off. What is it that you need to do to make yourself more credible? So test your concept. Let's see how this can be done. So simple things. You can put potential customers, lapsed customers, current customers, you can ask to have a face-to-face engagement with them. Set up some appointments, visit a couple of people, talk to them. Remember, we said you need to have a goal. Have a goal and a purpose for your study. This is what I want to find out from these people. You can pick up the phone and call them. Have a list of people that you want to talk about. Pick up your phone. You can send emails and ask people to fill in a survey. But group interactions are great. Easy, quick breakfast. We do it all the time. We go out into the market and we host a small picnic. We'll host a breakfast, a lunch, or even if it's just juice and biscuits, just invite people over and have a chat. But another fantastic replacement for this is WhatsApp. We have WhatsApp groups for everything. I've got a WhatsApp group already right now on my phone for Weekend Away. You can have a WhatsApp group for my business, my customers, So have these conversations. Set up a WhatsApp group with a small group of people and have questions that you want to ask. Have I run out of time? Have I run out of time? Have I run out of time?
Yes. Go ahead, then finish. You have, but don't worry. This is so useful. Continue and finish. We'll make a follow-up.
Okay. All right. So, and then of course, I've already spoken about your suppliers, that they are an important tool as well. And then, so when you're having conversation, we're trying to understand hypotheses or possible, questions and answers. And then when we do surveys, we want to understand how many people also believe what has come out from these conversations. So once you've had conversations with people, follow it up with a survey where you can speak to a wider audience of people to say, okay, this is what has come out from the conversations. Let me check how many other people agree or disagree with what has come out so that I can see which direction to go. And there are all these tools and they're all free. There's parts of it that is free. 10 free questions, 15 questions. You can send them to people's SMSs, WhatsApps, their email. It's easy. You can get your data. It's there. It's live. You can check it every single time. So there's really easy and simple ways, and they all teach you how to ask the questions and what to do when you're online. So these are really simple things that you can do tomorrow, literally, and start to ask the questions. Even if you just ask the 3 questions: what do we need to keep doing? What do we need to stop doing? What do we need to start doing? And then once you've painted that picture, you've got your understanding of the industry and how you can possibly position yourself. and you've now defined your customer, and you've got a clear picture of who they are, what they're looking for, what really makes them tick, because you understand their attitudes, their lifestyle, their beliefs, and their values. Now you then have to take stock of your brand to say, okay, so what is my brand story? Who is this organization? You know, what is the essence of my brand? What does this brand stand for? What does it believe in? What do we do well? What do we not do so well? What is our vision? Where are we going? And is our vision aligned to these people and their dreams and where they are going? What kind of associations do we want to have with these brands? But most importantly, what is the promise that we're making to the customer as a brand? Because this promise is what is going to deal with that first pillar of the brands that win, the resonance. Because what we promise and we deliver consistently is what gives us trust in the market. So when we don't live up to our brand promise, that's when we fail. So that is crucial. What are you promising the market, and are you living up to that? And the values that guide your brand, you know, on-time delivery, professionalism, attention to detail, customer satisfaction. So define those things. So I always say, start with 3 things: who we are, who we are not, that helps you, and who would like to be. So think about who we are and where we're going and what we definitely don't want to be. So this is kind of like the cheat sheet, as I'd mentioned, that this is a full day course that we normally do, but I've really tried to compress and give you the main buckets that I want you guys to focus on as soon as tomorrow. And I'll make this available to Precious's team, and then they can send that through to you. And our email is also available if you need to ask some questions and get some guidance on where to start and where you can go as well. Sorry, I went over time. I think I talked too much.
No worries. Guys, do you guys have any questions before Mpho leaves? I'll also just check on our Facebook to see if we don't have questions there. Belinda's raising her hand.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to allow her to talk.
Yes, Belinda. Do I see Belinda? No.
She needs to switch on the video for us to see her.
Okay.
Belinda, switch on your video.
Guys, don't go also. Please do the poll. We want to know what are your biggest challenges. If you feel there are topics that you want us to actually deal with, please go ahead and let us know. Belinda's I'm allowing her to speak. So please, Sonto, can you allow her to speak? Is she on?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe she can type. Her hands is still up.
Belinda,
Okay.
you need to unmute yourself.
She needs to unmute herself.
Unmute.
Belinda, you're on mute again. Frank, we can't see you.
Hello.
Hi, Frank.
Okay, let's let Belinda talk first.
Okay.
Can you,
Yes.
okay, sorry. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I posted a question while Usi was talking. I was hoping to get some answers on the question that I posted. Basically, the question is around, I'm a new entrepreneur, and I would like to obtain as much understanding in terms of, you know, what is sort of like the first step. So I kind of like need some guidance, but the question is posted and it's sort of like listing, or rather highlighting where the guidance is required at.
Is it here on the chat?
It is on the chat.
No.
I'm trying to, because
Belinda, but please repeat your question again. You are a startup. You just want to know and understand step by step of what you need to do to start a business.
Guidance, yes. I just need some guidance. I'm a new entrepreneur. I would like to specialize in providing strategic solutions. So I'm gathering as much information as I can in terms of, what do I need to do? Also on the side, I'm trying to understand, my target audience. My target audience is small, young SMEs. That's the market that I would like to, to offer my my services to. So at the moment, I'm having these conversations on the ground with the people that I know that are within my space, that are entrepreneurs, in terms of what are their struggles, what are their business problems, for me to be able to sort of like craft my business idea and eventually put it on launch. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, but you've already started, and that's a great place to start. But I want to take a bit of a step back. What is strategic solutions?
Strategic solutions is because I come from advertising. I've got a qualification in marketing. I've got extensive advertising experience. So my solutions would be, helping young solutions. Oh, my connection is
Belinda, your network is bad.
I can't hear.
Yeah, okay. Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes. You know.
Okay, cool. You were asking as to what is strategic solutions.
Yes.
So strategic solution is, for me, because I've got extensive advertising experience, more than 10 to 15 years as well. I've got marketing qualifications. So what I've done, I've identified a gap in the market. I would like to target SMEs, young SMEs that are starting up their businesses, be it solving their business problems, assisting them, with to come up with business solutions. So that's where I'm at the moment. So that's why I'm asking the question, because I'm gathering all the research for me to be able to craft my business idea.
Okay, so Precious, I'm gonna need you to come in on this if you're still there. Belinda, the definition of what you're doing for me feels a bit too broad. I almost feel like you need to fine tune it and craft it. It's sounding a little bit, a jack of all trades. So decide what you want to focus on, and then evaluate that particular space. So, for example, Precious focuses on financial solutions, and I focus on consumer insights or market research solutions. So, I think if you're saying you want to provide SMEs with solutions to their problems, what problems? It's just, you really need to find your niche. So maybe what you need to do is to find where the gaps are. What is the market missing? Where can I plug in with the experience that I have?
Great answer, love. Great answer, Mpho. So my advice to you, Belinda, the MBA students, they do quite a lot of research on why SMME fail. Take that and Google that. And once you have done, then start throwing down the key problems that are keeping entrepreneurs not to actually sleep. The next part also will be, there's lots of research that is being done by different entities. I think CEDA does them, small business does them, CEPA does them, but they do them at different level and for different problems. One of the biggest challenges for SMME is access to market, access to finance, and access to skills and information. So maybe with your experience, use that then as a guide for you, or say, if it's access to market, what does that mean exactly? And you start also prioritizing which sectors you want to focus on based on your experience. Because remember, not all are going to be useful. So if you're coming from retail, then focus on helping entrepreneurs in retail. If you are maybe from hospitality industry, focus only on hospitality industry. You are too broad.
Okay.
Go back to the drawing board.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I really believe that that's exactly what I needed. As I say, I'm a young, new in the entrepreneurial space. I've just recently been retrenched, so I'm trying to find a way on how best I can utilize my skills and getting into entrepreneurship. So that's why I just needed to, be in this space for me to be able to understand better as to where, what is the first step. So I understand that it's a journey, it's a journey, and there's quite a lot that I need to do for me to be able to get to the next step.
So Tshepo says he would like to connect with you with your advertising experience.
Fantastic. I'll chat to him just now.
Okay, guys, there is another one that is saying he's saying people, you spoke about the size of your organization, showing people that you can deliver in business to business transaction. People always are looking for reputation. They want to know what you have done. How does one quickly arise above that? First, you make sure that you fulfill your promises, no matter how hard and difficult it gets. Build a relationship for long term. 2, you need also to now start having something which we call brand association. People will be advertising you without you being there. And you will do that by always delivering consistent products and services to people, and people will start selling you before you're even there. But you're gonna start from building strong relationship and delivering on your promises. And it's not gonna start just from a staff that is built. You're gonna start having to deliver on your own personal promises every day for you to be able to fulfill anyone's promises.
Can I quickly add on to that? With regards to people wanting to see what you've done, especially when you're working with business to business, earlier on in our career, when we started, we actually approached a big company that was doing exactly what we're doing, and we said, we've got something that we can offer you that you don't have. We are on the ground, we understand the market. Why don't you use us as part of a project? So we got them to subcontract us on a small part of a project, and using that also to train us into the industry. So that's what we negotiated with them. We said, we're looking for experience, we want to support you. So we gave our services in exchange for experience and exposure, and then we asked them to be our reference. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Mpho, that is actually wonderful. There's another person who has Frank, do you want to have a question for Mpho?
No, I'm all right. I'm all right on my side.
No problem. Let me mute you then. Is there another person who's actually on with a question? Okay, everyone is saying thank you, Mpho, and the rest of the team. It was very positive. We've just done a poll also from the guys. I know some of the information, it was the first time we're hearing it, but remember, how many times did your teacher actually teach you A, B, C, and D? Yeah. The whole year they will spend,
Yeah.
So the first time you're hearing this information, you then need to take it slow and go through the presentation, research what she's saying. When she's saying customer, build up a customer and understand that's a customer profile and start populating that within your business. Because the bottom line is that we need to make sure that we understand our customer so that we can be able to serve them. And they exchange, what do they exchange in return? They exchange with a thank you of the money. Yes. So money is not a problem. The problem is that we're not solving the real issues that our customers are actually looking to be solved. We are missing the mark. It could be our messaging. It could be the way we're doing the messaging. And that is why we need people like Mpho who can actually say, you know what, in that market, in that segment, this is the message they are using. This is how people are looking at this product.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I hope it was helpful.
Everyone else, please note that we will share the webinar. It is recorded. It will be on our YouTube page, which is Finance Success TV.
Please, I've also posted the link for you to subscribe, so that in case you miss some of our webinars, we're gonna bring more people every month. Actually, as far as I'm concerned, Mpho, you are stuck with me now, girl. The next one we're gonna be doing is about how do you test the market? How do you go to the market and test to see if the product is viable or not viable? And we will then again take it into step by step, piece by piece, for us to be able to see how we can actually build businesses that are sustainable.
Okay. Great.
Yep.
Very exciting. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you to everyone. Any last words, Mpho?
Yeah, I think it's a journey. Market research is a journey, one step at a time. You know, I think start at industry level and then bring it in and put the pieces together. You know, we do a post mentorship that's sometimes 6 months to a year, helping SMEs get it right. So don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Okay.
Definitely, and we'll be signing up, Mpho. Okay, Kaya and myself needs to sign up for that, because I think we have great products. We know those products are solving the problem, but maybe we need to work on the messaging. Maybe we need to work on how we're actually delivering, because we know is the solutions we have are actually really dealing with the issues that we are having as entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mpho. We really love you. Thank you so much, girl. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming.